So in a way, a beautiful part of this revelation that we are resting in and opening to is a collapse of the play of opposites. The play of opposites always creates a feeling of lack, or a feeling of trying to get it right. Will I get it wrong? In a way, making the right decision, knowing what's right and true. And that play of opposites is itself born out of believing the thoughts in the mind that give us many possibilities, and then the game of life of trying to pick the right one, trying to do it right, trying to get it right. And like an inner conversation that is telling us what we need to do, what we should do, what we must do, what we have to. And in a way, it sounds like a simple, mundane mechanism of being human, and in a way it is. But in another way, it's incredibly profound, because it reveals to us how, if we listen to the mind and the thoughts, that the majority of thoughts are thoughts that are born out of a belief in lack, and are trying to kind of verify a sense of lack, a sense of insecurity, a sense of not knowing, a sense of will I fail, a sense of am I worthy. And that feeds into that sense too of trying to read what I need to do in order to be accepted and be validated and be confirmed. And so in a way, what we are opening to is this attunement with the deep intuitive knowing, where we enter the intelligence of life, and we discover that we are the intelligence of life, and that we actually have access to a way of being life that doesn't require us to dance in that play of opposites, which is essentially the play of cause and effect, or we could even call it karmic resonance. That we don't need to live life playing the game of will I get it right, will I get it wrong, will I succeed, will I fail, am I good, am I bad? We don't need to play the game of life as a dance, as if we are always trying to win or get it right, or be seen or be understood or be heard. When we really come to this simple resting, we're opening to discover that what true intuitive knowing is a recognition that we are the intelligence of life, and in that we have access to a way of perceiving that in a way we've never lost, but we maybe haven't been using to its full potential. And we could even have some confusion around what true intuition is, because there can be a layer of what we believe intuition is, which is entangled with the sense of getting it right and fitting in and belonging to the play of the world. So what we're really opening to as being the intelligence of life is a way of seeing, illuminating, that the majority of thoughts are just an internal conversation that is telling us, you need to do this, you need to do that, you should do this, what about this, why don't you do that? And all of those thoughts are born out of a feeling of lack and a belief in that lack, a belief that I need to fill this emptiness. I need to understand, I need to know, I need to succeed, I need to get it right. I even need to be my true self, right? I need to be the full flower. I need to fully blossom. I need to. And that pressure that we create with an internal conversation, if we can actually just rest and observe and see, what if we stop listening to that conversation and responding to the beliefs that are constantly telling us, you need to do this, you need to do that, what about this, what about that? Because if we can see that those thoughts are all born out of some kind of belief that we're not enough, that we're not worthy, that we're not in our full potential, right? That we need to do more. And each of us will have a unique set of thought patterns that will go along with our unique laws of nature. And in a way, what we're inviting this morning is a way of just kind of resting and relaxing and just looking upon the thoughts and seeing how the thinking patterns can be something that it's so easy to identify with and to kind of follow the orders of, believe, and to take action from. That in a way, it's like those thinking patterns put a kind of pressure on us. And we believe that that pressure is actually like an urgency, like, hey, come on. What you doing? You need to do this, you need to do that. When you actually look behind you, who's actually telling you all the things that you need to do, right? It's like that pressure, it's like we're putting it on ourselves, the thoughts, the patterns of fear, the patterns of lack, the belief in separation, the belief that life is divided and I've got to find the way to win this. It's all a construct of the mind. It's all born out of that belief in separation. And it's like a perpetual, self-perpetuating flow, right? So too do the thoughts have a kind of power that what we believe and identify with, what we spend our time thinking about, we have the power to create. So we have the power to create what we think about. And then when we manifest it, we think, well, I was right. I was right about how wrong I am or how I'm getting it wrong. And we can end up in this whole cycle where the thinking process is manifesting a perpetuation. And so this is what we speak of as that kind of repeating cycle of cause and effect. That if we believe there's a cause, we're going to create the effect. If we believe that that's how life works, and that we have to, at the level of cause, kind of get it right because there's going to be an effect. And of course, on a certain level of life, there's a truth to that. But that whole play is a play of the mind. When we actually come to the resting and we come to the sense of being, we open to, in a way, the ultimate cause, pure causality. We open to the field that is entirely subjective, pure subjectivity, that it's not an object-to-object relationship. So it's not actually a play of cause and effect in the way the mind believes, that play of opposites and that play of like, okay, I'm being given two options. Often there's obviously more, but I'm giving two options. Here's the world of duality, and I've got to get it right. I've got to choose the right one, right? And if I choose the wrong one, this is what's going to happen, right? So this whole thinking process, we're just illuminating here what a web it is, and how we're conditioned to believe it, and how the play of the collective human consciousness is operating within this system of limitation that the whole mental thinking process that's associated with belief and the play of opposites, the play of cause and effect, is essentially an atmosphere, an environment of limitation. And so we're being invited by the grace of life, by the grace of the intelligence of life, to drop a little deeper. Drop a little deeper, beloved. Come into the presence of being and discover that you're not this powerless, helpless one that needs to succeed and get it right and kind of find the right thought that's going to make this moment better and make me feel like I'm succeeding. But we're being invited to drop a little deeper. So we come to the presence of being and we open to the field of the living intelligence. And we discover that when we slow down, when we pause, when we rest, we open an access to a deeper knowing. And we could say in truth that that deeper knowing is just a knowing of yourself. Just a knowing that is the sense of being the being. And the mind could jump in and say, yeah, but how is that going to get me the right answer? Exactly, beloved. Exactly, right? How is that going to help me do this? How is that going to help me do that? How is that, like, I've got a pressure here. Like, I've got to do this. I've got to get this right. I've got to be engaged. I've got emails to answer. I've got places to go. I've got things to do. I've got jobs to show up at. I've got all these things, these really important things that are in my life, right? It's like, exactly, beloved. Just rest. Find out what's actually important. Find out how much of the life is that pressure to succeed, that pressure that's telling you that you have to be something, and find out if you actually need to be that one, if that one is actually the truest version of yourself, right? So it's not ever that we're doing anything wrong, but my goodness, we can open to revelation that can reveal to us, slow down, precious heart, take a few breaths, come to the being, and find out if the pressure that you're putting upon yourself is actually the true flow of life, or is it a mental construct patterning that's rooted in a sense of not enough and lack, and believing that I've got to keep pushing to succeed. Like, to unwind this pattern, can you feel? Can you feel how ginormous it is to find the escape hatch from this pattern, which is the human condition, right? And even if it's a reflection of where you're resting now with so much more sublime spaciousness and just a little smile and a little wink at the play of life and how much jolly pressure we've put on ourselves. Whew. Resting is a part of life, right? On a Tuesday, we've started really just hanging out and resting, right? Sometimes I've even felt like, whoa, is it okay to gather and just rest like this? Because that kind of inner pressure says, maybe you need to do a little more than just gather people together and just enter the field of presence and resting. Maybe you need to, bring the goods forward. It's like, whoa, there's the pattern, right? There's the pattern. It takes a lot to just rest, to just come to the silence, to really, really listen, right? To really, really listen. And to come to a deeper attunement with the deep listening, the intuitive knowing, the knowing of who I am, what is my true nature. We fall into the true nature, the field of presence, where in a way, it's like we completely relax all of the shapes and creations of who we think we need to be and who we think we are, It's like we dissolve it all into the big puddle of love. And then we start moving from a deep listening where we are naturally wired to intuitively know where the yes is and where the no is. Like it's an in-body function. It's a feeling, sensing, natural function, true intuition, to really feel. And of course, the mind can override that and say, yeah, but I don't really know, or I don't know if I can really trust that. And that's the whole point, is that we've learnt not to trust it, and so we don't trust it. We fear trusting it because we fear moving from a mechanism that doesn't make sense to the mind. And yet until we trust that mechanism, we won't come into full alignment, right? We won't, in a way, flex that muscle, right? We won't tone that muscle of deep intuitive knowing until we really listen, until we really align, until we really come to enter the current of the intelligence of life where the true power is, and actually flow with life as life. It's very easy to sit back and say, yeah, it's not working. It's not working because, I'm not feeling like my whole self. I'm not feeling the joy. I'm not feeling the light, the delight. But are you truly listening, right? And in a way, this is an inner discernment where, again, we can just smile with ourselves and say, yeah, not always, actually. Not always. Because the pressure to perform, the pressure to belong to the collective consciousness and to fit in and to succeed, to accumulate, acquire, attain, it's a collective pressure, right? And of course, we have our own ways that we put pressure upon ourselves according to our unique laws of nature. But in a way, what we're inviting is that we rest. It's like, let's put the clay back in the pot. Put the clay of the one that I've created myself to be, the one that I believe I am, just smush it up. Make a ball out of it again, right? The little person that I've created myself to be, the persona, the identity, the one that I think I am, squish it all up into a little ball. Put the clay back into the big pot. Just squish it all up. One big, eternal ball of clay. And then let the divine create. Let the divine flow create an expression. That we don't need to form ourselves. We don't need to shape ourselves to try to fit in to a collective consciousness that is a frequency of limitation and lack. That it's like return to sender. I return myself to the sender, right? Just post myself back to God, all of myself, just the way that I am. I just give myself to God and glory. I hand over the creation. Not because I failed, not because I'm lacking, but because I realize that I don't have all of the means by myself, disconnected from source, to actually reach my full potential, right? And by goodness, haven't we tried, right? This way, that way, this shape, that shape. But until we return ourselves to the great pot, until we return ourselves to source, until we return ourselves to creator, and we surrender the persona and the identities and all the things that we think are so important in the life that we have to do. It's humbling beyond words to allow the divine creation to emerge. And yet, wow, right? To allow the divine creation to emerge, to give ourselves over to the divine, and to truly be in expression, and to find out, discover, in this whole exploration of the human life, what that is. We could say that the exploration of a human life is that. It's the great discovery, the adventure, the willingness to keep exploring and to keep returning ourselves to the one, to the being. And essentially to really illuminate where that pressure of the thought process, of the collective mind, we could say, the collective consciousness that is rooted in limitation, is constantly telling us who we need to be. And that if we believe that, it's not that we're straying all the way from our true unique laws of nature, but we want to be able to discern. And the way that we discern is by coming into connection with the knowing of who we are as a being, as existence itself, as life itself, and then attuning with the deep intuitive ability to recognize where the flow of life is actually calling us. And so in that, where the yes is and where the no is, that is it's like an immediate body sense of the yes. It's what makes us nod. It's what makes us shake our head. It's what makes us say, uh-huh. It's what makes us go, mm-mm, right? It's the way that we're naturally wired with a feeling sense, a subtle perception that is actually very simple. It's like our animal creature instinct, right? Like you don't see creatures just sitting there, what shall I do? Shall I, I'm a lion now. Shall I chase that gazelle? Not sure. Am I hungry? Yeah, what did I last eat? Not sure. Because of course the catch will have gone, right? It's like it's instinct. It's an animal instinct. Hungry, yes. Chase, yes. Boom, off, right? It's quicker than that. If we can reconfigure our conditioning to the infinite, open, unbounded, where we can really just feel. You can play the game, right? To get yourself attuned. Are you sitting down? Yep. Are you standing up? Nope. Right? It's obvious. You can start with simple things just to find out that absolute unquestionable knowing that we are directly, as a creature, we are wired to know. And yet we've learnt to follow the mind and ponder all the possibilities, right? It's not that there aren't times where there's many things kind of dancing and we want to just be in a contemplation and an openness. But even that is a sense of, if I imagine myself going there, do I feel a yes? Do I feel a not sure? And as I always say, a not sure is a no until it becomes a yes, right? A maybe is a no until it becomes a yes. So it's this play, this adventure with ourselves of really listening. And sometimes what feels like a yes to us won't make sense to the mind. And the pressure of the mind will tell us, well, you need to do this. You're going to fail. You're going to create disconnection. You're going to lose something. Because that's the story of lack, is always the fear of more loss, the fear of disconnection, the fear of being unloved, the fear of not being seen, the fear of not fitting in, the fear of not belonging, the fear of not being safe. But when we start to see the mechanism of that, we have the possibility to illuminate it and realize, okay, wow, there's a whole conversation that's going on that I don't actually need to listen to, right? I can just illuminate. Those are just thoughts that are telling me, that are coming from lack and are telling me that you need to do this, you need to do that. And here then the opportunity to be in the exploration and the adventure of life that really gives us this great means to evolve. And the evolution, of course, is the evolution out of the belief in separation, the evolution out of the belief in division or lack, that I'm not enough, and that the thoughts about ourselves as lacking. Because in a way, all of our sense of lack, right, this is like a truth bomb, all of our sense of lack is all because we're not being our true self. Like our true self and our unique laws of nature is our enoughness, is the divine expression. But we've overlaid that with this whole idea through worldly connection, trying to fit in, all of the thoughts, all of the pressure. We've created a persona that will never feel like enough unless it's actually the true laws of nature in operation, right? It's that landing, right? The sense of that the true laws of nature, it's not just knowing my true nature as the self, the one self, it's an alignment. All that is part of the collaboration that brings us into a natural alignment with the intelligence of our unique laws of nature, like the one that each of us is uniquely wired to be. That one, when we really fall into alignment with that one, we won't feel the same kind of lack. If we're trying to be something that we're not, we're always going to feel like an imposter, or that we're failing, or that we're not enough, or that we're not meeting the mark, because we're not actually designed or supposed to be the one that we're trying to be. Like, wow, right? If we're trying to be something that's created out of a kind of web of expectation and a tapestry of taking pieces of other people that we see in the world that we think we should be like, if we're trying to become a patchwork doll, right? And then I want those eyes, that nose, that this. I want to have this body. I want to be strong like that. I want to be good at this, and I want to be good at that, and I want to succeed in this, and I want to. This is the direction, right? Because we've looked out at the landscape, and we've tried to see. Well, that one's successful. That one seems to be happy. That one seems to have, and we make this tapestry patchwork of like, okay, of course we're going to always feel like we're lacking. Of course we're always going to feel like we're failing. If we're creating a web of expectations, or if we're taking on board, let's take it right back to the young life. If we're taking on board, let's say the parental guardians' kind of expectations of us, which are, of course, rooted in their expectations of themselves, and often their own lack. Like where I'm lacking, I want my child to succeed. Surely I'm giving my child this great opportunity. But if it's all born out of a sense of lack, right? The parent or guardian is feeling the lack. Is because it's in that mental conversation, and it's creating its own patchwork doll expression. It then projects that onto the child. And then the child starts to on some level, take on board the expectations of it, the family tribal expectations, the collective, depending on where we're born, the culture, the beliefs. The child takes all of that on. And then as we move through life, we start in our kind of seeming individuating and becoming a growing human into adulthood. We then start on some level noticing what we're drawn by and what we're inspired by, what we're enlivened by. And some of that will be our true laws of nature. And some of it will be what will please the tribe, what will please the family, where will I fit in, where will I be successful? Oh, it's sort of the classic parental invitation to, be a doctor, be a lawyer. Oh, well, that's what will make me successful in life, right? And of course, everyone has their own flavor of that, and it's not wrong, but you start to see how it's like a amnesiac bubble, and it's all this collective mind of lack, of limitation. And if we're believing that, and we're moving in the ways that we've learned and conditioned, that this is where I have to succeed, I have to succeed in this world. In a way, the invitation here is like a pin to the bubble, right? It's saying, hey, boop, there, whoa, it's like the Truman Show, right? It's like bursting the bubble of what we're trying to fit into, and realizing that voice in the head that's telling us who we need to be and putting constant pressure on us isn't the absolute truth. Whoa, right? That there's a reality and there's a unique set of laws of nature, like a divine expression that is longing within us to be lived. We know that longing. So this is why we say, follow the longing. Follow the longing for wholeness, for God to be truly expressed, for love. Follow that longing, because there you will find fulfillment in the longing. And on a certain level, sometimes that can feel very abstract when we speak about that fulfillment being your true self, the true nature, a belonging to God and glory. But all of that is really expressing, come to yourself, come to be the intelligence where the one that you're here to be in your human expression is an expression of divine wholeness, like a divine vessel, a divine pot being molded from the big divine clay ball, right? That you don't need to be a patchwork expression of kind of piecing it together. Come back to the source and be expressed, right? And again, this is the adventure. We're not getting it wrong because we haven't discovered this and we're not living the fullness of it. The human realm is the place for this adventure to happen, right? It's like a living experiment in a way, that consciousness is in an experiment of forgetting in order to discover, in order for evolution of consciousness to happen. So as always, as the words come, it's not even about understanding. It's about feeling the resonance of a truth, feeling a resonance like a revelation. And in a way, when we open to revelation, at the frequency of recognition, the recognizing, the mind itself surrenders out of separation and into being one fluid, intelligent consciousness, truly being one intelligence, one wisdom, one flow of life. And as we enter that flow of life, where we feel the alignment, the accord, the resonance, the yes, right? That's the the fullest expression of a resonant yes is that we can feel a resonance of truth, of a recognizing who we truly are. Now the mind will take that very quickly and be like, dunna, let's present this to the world, right? My true self. Let's pop on a little costume and bring this forward. And that's okay. It's all a part of it. It's a part of the game. And when we can actually see that it's a game, an exploration, an adventure, we can start taking part in it without as much seriousness, that the pressure to succeed and perform in a frequency of limitation feels like we start being more simple and open and relaxed. We revel in connection. We revel in true reflection, the relational field. We stop taking it so seriously, like we've got to get this right. Like I've got to find the right way, and we just relax back and we get carried. We start being carried, and we're following the intuitive animal sense of yes and no. And we're being curious, even fascinated, as we come to a greater intimacy with ourselves and the unique one that we're here to be. And we enjoy the unfurling of each of our petals, like, ooh, yes, that petal opening feels really aligned, really, really like a yes, like a creative flow, right? And we realize where we're holding back. And the exploration of what is it to flower out of the fertile ground of the unified field of the one intelligence. When do I recognize a yes? What is the reflection I get in that? And this is where we start to overcome the sense of that our yes doesn't make sense to the mind. We discover that when we say a yes, and we feel like doesn't make sense to the mind, but here's a yes, we start seeing like a pathway open, horizons that we didn't anticipate, that we didn't even know were there, start opening. And this is what Joseph Campbell was speaking about, follow your bliss, and it will open up doorways that you didn't expect or anticipate. And that's a paraphrase, always a paraphrase. So this is what is being spoken of, that when we follow the yes, the bliss, we follow the yes, we're opening up the landscape of the lived experience to the infinite possibility that in our limited context, of course we can't imagine, because we're too busy trying to fit the square peg into the round hole, right? Trying to hammer that in for love nor money. Boom, boom, boom. Get a bigger hammer, please, right? It's like, no. Put the hammer down. Just realize that the square peg is not supposed to fit into a round hole, because the round hole is the wrong shape. The round hole is limitation, right? Those little edges that won't get in there, right? They're not supposed to get in there. They're supposed to be free. They're supposed to be square, right? It's not about getting out, all the tools to trim it down. Let's trim this down. Let's trim it down. Let's make it fit. It's like, no. That's the story of the mind. That's the pressure saying, fit in to limitation. Limit yourself. Play it small. Fit in. It's like, no, beloved. Spread your wings. Be square. Be fully, whatever shape the divine has created you to be. Find out what shape that is, and stop making yourself wrong for the divine creation that you are, and actually live. Find out what it is to live as the one that only you are here to be. Like, if that isn't a divine special mission, what more could we want? That the divine special mission is to be the unique one, the beloved profound one that you are here to be, the special envoy of God, right? Every single one of us, a special envoy of God and glory with a very unique divine mission in the expression of a human life while we still have this dance to dance, right? So let us rest here, let us pause and just, take a few breaths. Just notice, how is this landing? What is alive for you in this sharing? What is resonating in your field of yes? What is resonating and being seen, illuminated in your lived experience? How is this sharing offering you illumination, stirring, purification? How is it offering you even a practical way of connecting more deeply with your living exploration of what it is to live this reality? So when I speak of living reality, this curiosity is, what is it to live as the unique one, to live this reality and to actually join together in collaboration, like this collaboration in love? What is it to join together, living at the frequency that has the possibility of bringing heaven to earth, being a living heaven on earth, we could say? That in a way we can connect to that frequency, and that it's not about trying to change the world. It's about changing our frequency that limits what the world is and shifts what the world is to a living reality. By shifting the frequency and the multidimensionality of our being, we open to the infinite field of possibility and being pure intelligence, being pure love, being the power. And so this is the curiosity that we're bringing forward to engage with, participate in, and explore.